Alright, welcome back everyone, I'm still Evil Tim and this is still Let's Play Goldeneye, so let's go back to playing Goldeneye, and in fact it turns out that Eurocom, the company that made this, have actually demised themselves in the interim. They died sometime back in December when Activision shut them down after the failure of 007 Legends, but never mind that now. Speaking of failure, we're going to Barcelona. Specifically, we're going to the sector of Barcelona that's floating 1,000 feet in the air. I think that would be quite suspicious, but never mind. I guess I don't know anything about these things.
We've discovered that Urumov has been receiving large cash transfers that trace back to a Nigerian shell corporation known as the Janus Group.
Okay, so remember that Bond is doing this instead of going back to London, which means that presumably Alec was running the Janus Group in his spare time, or someone else was Janus.
EMP-hardened helicopter.
Never mind that he already had one.
Out of a nightclub in Barcelona. The local
That's a balloon.
Police have a mole inside, a Sergeant Garcia, who can make
Well, fuck that, I want to speak to a human, I'm not speaking to no mole.
Zukovsky's only known physical characteristic
Apart
is
from
a
this
terrible
photograph.
scar across his right cheek.
I mean, look at it, it's rubbish.
First name Valentine?
How do you know?
I gave him the scar.
Okay, so apparently they decided there's an E in Valentine Zukovsky's name. I guess it's like that F in Lieutenant or something. And yeah, he's got the scar now, so you're sort of thinking, okay, isn't Alex supposed to be the one with the scar? Well, yeah, he doesn't have the scar, which means there's no reason for it to actually be called the Janus Group anymore. And yes, this is exactly the scenario that they made fun of in Triple X, which was made 8 years before this game. James Bond is going to walk into a trendy modern nightclub wearing his suit and look incredibly bloody awkward. So we'll zoom into being Daniel Craig again, a disappointment if ever there was one, and then we'll look around here and we'll see that we live in the dreaming spires of SimCity 1. That's wonderful. So anyway, let's see what we can find out about the Zukovsky fellow here, you two.
Senor Zukovsky is a cruel, heartless man. You start dancing on
This is called exposition.
Again, and you'll be waking up in La Enfermeria. Or worse.
Or worse? Who is this Zukovsky? Some kind of boogeyman?
We really need to establish a character who's in the game for one entire scene.
Now come on. Let us enjoy the evening.
Okay, so we'll leave Bob and his significant other there, and we will instead proceed onwards. I guess Fierstein just really doesn't like the Zukovsky character, being as he's now killed him off twice as quickly as he possibly could. I really don't know what that's all about. So the whole thing about Zukovsky, of course, in Goldeneye was that he was one of two characters that they were sort of testing out in order to replace the Felix Leiter character who'd been written out of things in License to Kill, of course. The other one being Jack Wade, the American. That horse is having its reaction to playing 007 Legends, and I fully sympathize. Meanwhile, we've missed a conversation over here, because I thought there was a conversation over there, but we'll see this in the Wii version, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, so we'll leave those two to their business after they have had a bit of a scrap and go in here. You're supposed to just walk through the door and have that conversation proceed. But anyway, this is another gimmick that's in the Wii version, so it doesn't mean anything here.
Use the face recognition app on your smartphone to locate Sergeant Garcia.
But I can't. Apple took it down from the App Store for being unrealistic. Okay, so this is the stupid gimmick for this level. Basically, you have to point your phone at people, you can't fail at it, and you have to find one person in the nightclub who can only be in 3 places. Meanwhile, this guy.
I have to work late this evening. The new client is very demanding. No, my window is open. The bars across the square are very busy this evening. I love you too, darling. I promise not to be too late.
Okay, so he's going to go home and find all his stuff on the lawn, I suppose. But anyway, let's use our phone to determine whether he is a human being or not. It doesn't know, my god, he's corrupted. Meanwhile, this guy over here is merely an empty shell. He is clearly a replicant. You, sir. I'm not trusting your replicant lies. I think there will be an entry that way later on in the game. And anyway, let's go ahead. Oh my god, yes, this is the problem with this level, is there are hundreds of these buggers. But don't worry about that. You see, because this is originally in the Wii version, where most of these people were 2D, you have this whole point where you walk onto the dance floor, see all these people, and find out that only certain people in this room have faces. Yeah, go work that one out. Yeah, so this whole thing is basically pointless. You just got to walk around pointing your camera at people, but since you can only be in 1 of 3 places, there is no point in doing so at all. It's just a waste of time. You can't fail at it, and it really isn't even a game. Alright, so she's from one of the developers. This is Enya on top, by the way.
Not bad for a counterfeit. Perhaps you should tell your boss. The real label is a darker shade of blue.
Okay, so he's just turned into Roger Moore on us, so I guess he's going to start telling her about obscure facts about orchids in a minute. And butterflies. Yeah, okay, you go and give that bottle to the rats that spun your wig. Alright, so now we can wander out onto the dance floor and get ourselves a trophy or something like that. Our PSP is trying to pester us into using the level's stupid gimmick mechanic, but we're not going to be fooled by that. You can also see we're in slow walk mode, so we can't really do anything. So okay, so if you stand here, then Bond will start dancing like your dad, and eventually, after 1 minute, you can wander onwards because you will have been declared the dance commander. I guess if you stayed there for another 6 hours, you'd be made first Sea Lord of the dance, but we don't have time to do that. So anyway, Sergeant Garcia is here. You can tell she's here because she's the only unique model in the club, and she's wearing a dress made of icing sugar. I guess that's police issue or something. But anyway, so we have detected her. You see, I guess this is supposed to be the gag, is that you assume that Sergeant Garcia is a man, you look at all the wrong people, and it's frustrating and stupid. Never said it was a good gag, but anyway, so she's going to waddle awkwardly over there in an incredibly slow way. While we have a quick look around here, you can't actually go to the drink and order a vodka martini. Go to the drink? Go to the bar, I mean. The bar, I tell you. I'm confusing words, you know. We can't go to the bar and order a vodka martini because obviously that would make sense, so instead we are stuck just wandering around this club like a blundering idiot. The three places she can be by the stairs over there, she can be on that balcony, or she can be where she actually was. She can also talk without moving her lips, which is fairly impressive. And this guy also has magic powers. You, sir, show us your magic, as he lets go of that tape and it does not snap back into position. Oh, I see. Okay, a bit to the right. No, he's not doing that. He's just going to show off his levitating tape thing and steal our gun, the baddie. So, we have to now proceed onwards without it. We are alone, cold and naked in a cruel and heartless world. Meanwhile, let's have a look over here. That guy there is trying to guard that way where the level is, and there's a Janus symbol there. You, sir, do you know that sofa of yours is Eve? I didn't think so. It's only going to turn and round and bite them on the ass. I'm not sure how it's going to do that with soft, cushiony things, but never mind. And apparently, I guess according to this, Zukovsky works for the 3rd Street Saints or something, given his vile decor. But anyway, let's go into his office and see what he's all about.
Oh, darling, I swear I could never look at another woman.
My God, you were looking at Daniel Craig! That doesn't really make any sense, being as they haven't established he's with any woman but this one.
Mr. Bond, give me one reason I shouldn't.
Not one good
press
reason,
this
you know.
button and bring my men up here to use that tuxedo for target practice.
You could, but why waste bullets when you've got an EMP weapon?
That doesn't make any sense, even in context.
Wait here.
It really was. He's going to EMP James. Right, so he's got his Andy bumhole there. I guess we'll see his Jackson bollock later. And then it squirts water in his face.
Follow me.
Okay, so we can't have a conversation in front of her. So instead of sending her out of the room, we wander out and have the conversation in the hallway. Also in front of a security camera, as we're going to find out later.
Girls have ears these days.
This scene refuses to make any sense. Why didn't they just make it so... I can see why they did this for the ending of this scene, but why not just make it so his office is actually, like, facing onto the dance floor? Who knows?
Last night. What does the Janus group want with an EMP-hardened helicopter?
Is it some stupid plot device?
Do you expect me to just turn the other cheek?
I could always provide you with a matching set.
Okay, so he threatens us with violence, and Bond threatens him with violence, and that works. And he says, come in, so I guess this was actually supposed to take place in the office, but anyway.
The same thing I told the general. Go to the arms fair in Dubai.
I could have found that out using Google. Okay, so after he has already told us the information, she shoots him with Bond's gun, which she has somehow got off that bouncer at the door. Then she throws Bond's gun to him, since obviously shooting him would be too simple, and even by the standards of Bond villainy, that's incredibly bloody stupid. Also, how long has Zinnia been working here, being as the call was only intercepted last night? What, were they going to shoot him the whole time, even if he gave them the information they wanted, as opposed to a useless tip-off? Who knows? And also, why doesn't this level take place in Dubai, being as we're going to go there anyway, or even take place in Russia, considering we're in a nightclub full of Russian gangsters, which I imagine aren't actually that common in Barcelona. Who knows? Who cares? And anyway, we've got to shoot this thing here, because that will get us credibility and otters. And then we can use Daniel Craig's power to Daniel Craig his way through a plate glass window, because it makes sense for us to do that, I suppose. Right, so even though they don't really tell us what the hell we're doing here, you've got to shoot the Andy Bumhole painting, and then we can find this wall safe. The wall safe is not safe. It's not even locked, and it has inside it, that's his contact list. They don't really tell you that, but never mind. So let's have a look at this Wolf 44 here. This thing is a Smith & Wesson Model 29. It's a classic Dirty Harry Magnum, and we can go through another plate glass window with it because that's not silly at all. There's a trophy for this. We can, if we use this to kill 40 people in this level, which is what we're going to do with it, we can get ourselves the trophy for doing that. So I will demonstrate that. There's 18 rounds in each one of those, and there's 3 of them in the level, so you've got to be a bit careful with your shot placement or something. And anyway, let's go out onto the dance floor and shoot people, which is a hell of a lot easier in this version because it is supplied with something that isn't in the Wii version, but you'll see that when we get there. Something that isn't in either version, however, is that there is no Valentine body there. He's gone. He's disappeared into the void, which presumably make the idea of anyone having killed him pretty difficult to prove. But I guess they all must have seen it on the security cameras, but not the fact that Xenia shot him, even though we will later recover footage that shows exactly that. It doesn't make any sense at all. And anyway, there's another weapon that's exclusive to this level. This weapon is exclusive to this level. It doesn't appear in any of the others. And here it is. It's on that bar over there. We'll go and get it now. We'll swing over here like a man would. And we will get ourselves the Sly 2020. This thing is actually an airsoft shotgun. It's called the Smith & Wesson Model 2000. And it's rather silly, being as it has a very clearly airsoft magazine, which apparently holds 7 cartridges, even though it could quite clearly barely hold 2. It's also got no sights on it. This does the most damage of any of the shotguns, but sadly, you can't really aim it because it has no sights and it isn't in any of the levels anyway. And if we went up to the left, a shutter would close and bar us from leaving that way because we can't skip the level, and there's the tiny magazine for you. That's bad of us. So anyway, let's go through here. We're going to make our breach through this door. I guess Bond doesn't understand that operating his leg does not require the use of his arm, and so he just sticks his gun away every time he kicks through one of these doors to do a breaching sequence. And that doesn't strike me as the most ideal way of doing things, and I guess when he does it with a long gun, he gets the strap tangled around his arm or something, so he's frantically Daniel Craiging away while they fill him full of bullets, the twit. So that's him out the way, and then we can, in this room is the next one of these guns, the sequel to it, if you will, but we've got to take care of these guys before we can get hold of that. So we've dealt with those guys, load this back up, and we've got to deal with 2 more of these vile thugs and their chicanery before we can make our way to the next gun. I don't really understand the design of this nightclub, since apparently in order to get from the main dining room to the dance hall you have to walk through the toilet. That seems unsanitary and unsafe, and it also seems unsanitary and unsafe to have guns in the bogs. But never mind that, we can't smash that with our fisting McPowers, so we'll have to use our gun instead, and if you do that some water will trickle down, which is good I suppose. And anyway, let's make our way further through here. You can see all these odd wash basins that they have. It's a real hipster type place, this is. Never mind that, this is our last chance to get more ammo for that shotgun, after which we'll be depending on other types of weaponry, no doubt. So, further through we go. We'll gun down all of these dudes here, and then I'll be showing you another limitation of the Call of Duty engine. This is something else that the Wii version does better, I suppose. That's another Janus logo first, though. And I guess it's just because the Dead Space extraction engine draws rooms a bit farther ahead than the Call of Duty engine does that this next thing that we do is possible, but this always happens. It's fully replicable, and it's a really easy way of dealing with the guards in the kitchen. But firstly, we're going to have to deal with a few more of these guys here. So here's the kitchen, 1 room away from the toilet. That's not very safe either, I don't think, so he's going to be punished for that. Right, so load that back up again. We've got to deal with 1 guy over here, and then we will be doing our cheaty thing. So what is our cheaty thing, you ask? Well, you've got to walk up to the door here, which will make that group of guys appear, and that guy apparently move forwards at colossal speed. And what we've got to do is tempt one of those guys to come out. We've got to tempt 2 of these guys to come out, in fact, because we need to kill 2 of them for the next wave of bad guys to spawn. And we've got to do all of that without entering the kitchen, but luckily this is a brave man. He knows of our powers and he thought he could exceed them, but he was incapable of doing it in practice. So he's incapable of doing it in real life either. So this next guy will come forward thinking he's up to the challenge, but our stupid instant kill pistol is up to his challenge, and no mistake. And then we get shot at through the floor. What the hell is happening here? Well, it turns out that the game hasn't actually drawn the room after the kitchens. By vanquishing those 2 foes there, we caused the next wave of bad guys to spawn in a room that had no floor, and they are now currently descending out of the map and into oblivion. This is a very effective way of dealing with these guys, and dealing with this very willful door they have here as well. They'll fire at you twice, which means this isn't a good thing to do on 007 Classic, since you can't really take cover from it, but then they will all stop because they hit the floor of the level and die. So let's take care of this last guy here. There's 1 more guy visible on the map, but he just hasn't descended to oblivion yet, so he'll be disappearing very shortly, and there he goes. So in here is an objective that's very easy to forget about. What you've got to do is open up these crates. You've got to take a picture of them. This is evidence of Zukovsky's arms deals, because I guess Bond just telling them that we had evidence of Zukovsky's arms deals would not qualify as that or something, who knows. So in here we've got the Kalos TT9, this thing here, which is an FN Scar L, which has the safety on. You are a silly man, Bond. I guess he's just a very safe man. And we've got the Ivana Spec R, which is, I guess they wouldn't allow them to call it the Ivana Spank R or something. That is an IMI Tavor Tar 21 type thingy. We've got a Scar with a FN EGLM grenade launcher, which is as effective as any grenade launcher is in this game, so we'll fire a couple of rounds off from that, and then we'll dispose of it in favour of an ACOGRY type scope instead. The use you're a gun, come unto me, there. So Bond actually reloads this reasonably correctly in the Wii version, but he reloads it completely incorrectly in this version because he uses his shooting hand to change the magazine out. There, you can see it. It's got itself a proper right-handed ejection port, but it's got a left-handed charging handle on it. I guess it was assembled with the express purpose of annoying whoever was using it or something. So we've dealt with another Janus emblem, there's one more in the level, and then we will be done with those. But firstly, we'll have to shoot our way around here. You, sir, I'm going to deal with you, and then your fire extinguisher, and that guy faints from our prowess. I'm just going to briefly pause the game here because the first time I did a run of this I had to scrub it because I had forgotten about Zukovsky's picture thing, and if you come in here you'll go over a sawtooth. Okay, so that's the take they went with there. So the police are surrounding the building, so of course we go through this vent here, and that will lead upwards, and what just happened there, I don't know. Let's go back and have a look at it, people of the world. Yes, we apparently encountered Zukovsky's secret trapdoor, which is the size of the entire building. I don't really think that's particularly safe. So anyways, we've got to go out here, and here's a really weird thing that goes on here. For some reason they knocked the music way forward and the gunfire sound effects way back. Broken glass is really loud, and they don't explain what the hell is supposed to be going on here. The effect is really disorienting. It's almost like Bond's supposed to be dying here or something. But anyway, we now get an unfair thing that's exclusive to this version of the game. We walk in here, it immediately spawns a guard behind us. That's nice. That'll kill you a couple of times. So we'll take him out because he's a bad guy. And it also spawns a guy on the ledge right next to us as well, just to additional fairness, I suppose. So we've got our last Magnum now, so we're going to be taking out guys who are spawning all over the place. Meanwhile, apparently a dump truck full of broken glass is following us around, trying to dog our heels in its invisible ways. There's some police out there, but they don't matter because they will not factor into the level. They can't do a thing about us. They're not effective against us at all. And we're actually going to be awarded the trophy here. We're going to be awarded it in a really weird way, and I'm not really sure when I got it or how. There's no way to check up on that, of course, because being able to check the progress of your achievements, that would make sense. So this guy's going to try and come up here, but we're the king of the castle, and he's a dirty rascal, so he was thwarted. Right, so we're on our last 6 rounds now, so we'll be able to use those in just a minute. And I believe that, as ever in games like this, if you have less than 6 rounds, he'll still put 6 in, because he's like that, don't you know? So we have not come anywhere since Perfect Dark did that. Yeah, it's a reassuring thing to know. It's the kind of progress that you like to make in 26 million years. So we'll fire our last shot at that guy, it won't kill him, and we'll get the trophy anyway, which is called Bullet Dance, because when you're using the Magnum from Dirty Harry, it makes perfect sense that you don't make any reference to it whatsoever in the trophy name. You know, do you feel lucky? Something like that. It's not difficult to do these things. So anyway, this guy hasn't come along and doesn't feel big and strong. It's good for him, I suppose. So, and I guess he doesn't remember hi-ya-ya either. So, we've taken that guy out there. Pretty soon we'll be done with this gunfight. Give the misplaced charging handle a tweak, and then we'll load it back up once again, because I am a compulsive reloader, and that's just how I roll. So, we've now made our way out here. You can't shoot down these things, as I'll demonstrate in a minute, because, you know, even though it looks like you should be able to, and it looks like that's a thing, there's a couple of helicopters over there that are trying to mate with each other, which you'll see in just a second, and there's a bunch of cars zipping around as well. There they go, and here comes another one. It realized it should be there, I suppose. It was late for its scene, but it was thwarted in the end. There's some really shiny floorboards there, but we'll throw this away and pick up that because we've got no ammo for it, and we need this because there's two whole entire enemies left in the level, and I feel like scarring them permanently with my weaponries. So, we've got to go up here because the last objective is through here, you see, because it makes sense for it to be here, I suppose. So we'll smash our way through that. There's also the last Janus symbol, and I double dog dare you to guess where it is. Can you see where it is? Yeah, that's just cruel and stupid. It's no wonder people can't find these without the aid of GameFAQs. So anyway, we've got to get this thing here. We'll lose at Clax in this version. We'll win at it in the Wii version.
We'll get to work identifying Zukovsky's killer.
Okay, so that's downloading the record of the security camera footage, which again shows that he had that conversation in front of a security camera. And being as they have that recording at the end of the next level, at the beginning of the next level, I guess that must mean that the highest difficulty level is canon in this level, even though the lowest one has been canon prior to this. There you go, that's us not being able to shoot that down. We'll load that back up again. I think this is one of the models that they took from Quantum of Solace, but I'm not sure, because they must have altered it in the meantime. It's, with Quantum of Solace, like, every long gun and SMG had a front grip on it, so they could use the same hand positions when Bond was making his ways with them. There are two that definitely are, though, and you'll see them both later on. But now it's time for us to exit this realm of ours. There's a couple of helicopters out here. You, sir, what are you going to do about me when I leave this area directly within sight of you? Nothing, that's what. So we'll dash out here, and we'll find Bond's motorbicycle. So we will leap over here to our death, and then we will get on the bike anyway, because it's not a very good death. And Bond will speed away straight towards where all the police are. So we have now won at the nightclub. That has been that, and now it's time for the Wii version. I have been Evil Tim, and you will go on to that now. Goodbye. Sing it. Ah, yes, got the Barcelona dossier.